say in a way because I feel more comfortable in that terrain, but sad to say also that India has a management problem which is resulting in economic problems. And the solution is not for macroeconomics. The solution is better administration and better management. We must set a goal to go together to, and we must have a rocket to take us to that goal. The goal must be a goal that all the citizens of the country want to go to, accept that that's the goal that's going to improve their well-being. Therefore, we need a better scorecard, and I would urge us, every time we talk about the health of the state of Telangana, to begin with, and then the states of India all over, please don't just talk about the GDP growth comparisons. What is the state of well-being? And there are measures available for doing this. So start with the right scorecard, then you can measure your progress towards what really matters. The second is you need a vehicle to take you there, and the vehicle, as I mentioned, is better administration, better management, better functioning systems. When we, in the Planning Commission, worried about the fact that A, the GDP was going down for some reasons, but also that the well-being of the citizens wasn't improving sufficiently. And I explained to you that even with growth of GDP, we weren't doing it well enough. We said, what are the things that we need to work on more effectively in our country? I say again, to have the right scorecard is the starting point. The second is very clearly in our country, the administration and the implementation must improve. But why is it that things are not implemented in our country? And we looked at reasons why infrastructure projects don't get done on time, the reasons why our education and health programs don't deliver outcomes as intended, the reason why you build schools but don't have teachers, the reason why we have poor health and not worry about sanitation, is that things have to work together. 10 years ago, sir, here in Hyderabad, maybe it was 12 years ago, the then Chief Minister of the United States, of then called said in a close discussion that he was having with industrialists from abroad and from India, where he said, I want to get things done. And then he said, you know, there is this story about the crabs that are exported. And he was talking about crabs being exported from the coast of Andhra. So you don't need to cover the basket, because the crabs inside will pull down anyone who wishes to buy. This we found in the Planning Commission is not to do with Andhra, it's a general Indian malaise. We don't collaborate very effectively with each other. We don't do this. So we said to ourselves in the Planning Commission that we must find ways for people to learn to collaborate with each other, to come to conclusions that satisfy them more effectively. And if they do so, then we can make the progress that we need to make. Today, this report was presented to us about the ease of doing business, and so I'm glad you're here, because this is to do with industry. When I was in the Planning Commission, the President of the World Bank, the new President of the World Bank, he appointed a high-powered panel to look at this whole evaluation system of countries and what good it was doing for countries. So Trevor Manuel, Minister of Finance of South Africa, chaired, and there were 6 of us from around the world. And we went deeply into what is in these numbers. And then the point is not having a bad number or good number, but what are we helping the country to do to improve the state, not of the number, but of the environment for industry in its own country, especially small companies. And we then found that it wasn't the number that mattered really, but the rate at which you improve yourself in the number. We could be 142 and make a lot of efforts to become 200. But if 3 other countries are improving faster than we are, we remain at 142 and say, well, we've tried so hard, but how come we're still there? It's because they have improved faster than we have. And they improve faster because they get collaboration in their systems between the various people who need to work together much bigger and much more effectively than we do. In the ease of doing business, there are 2 sets of problems. One of them is an administrative set of problems, which is to improve the efficiency of government administration, mainly, which is mentioned that too many forms, too much delay in attending to requirements of the customers and clients, too much disagreements between the different silos of the government. No, this is an internal government administration problem. This government can do perhaps by itself, and India rates very poorly on this side. And as Dakshan pointed out, that's a big problem. So this the government must do, and governments are beginning to do in the various states of the country, and they must be compared. And compare each other and learn from each other in this regard. But just improving the administration by itself doesn't completely improve the situation. For example, right now labor laws are being talked about. It's not just an administration problem, and yes, we must improve the administration very much in that area. Too many inspectors, too many forms, too many bribes. But at the end of the day, we will need some labor laws for the sake of the well-being of the people who work in the factories. We will need to have some environmental laws for the sake of preventing damage by industry to the environment in which we all live. So the laws will also have to be changed, maybe, and improved. But this requires collaboration between people who understand the different aspects or affected by the different aspects. To change the regulations for ourselves, we need to work together more effectively. India today is rated very poorly, as you mentioned, in terms of getting justice in the law systems. One of the big reasons for this is that we are getting too used to framing more laws and using the legal system to solve problems amongst ourselves. The government departments take each other to court, we take the government to court, the government maybe takes us to court, we take each other to court. It's a good thing, right, to have a justice system, but there are so many things which must be attended to by ourselves, between ourselves, and not ask someone else to arbitrate and to try and understand what really we could understand best of all together. So, methods of understanding the various stakeholders' views very quickly and explicitly, they understanding each other together very well, getting a systems model to see where the stuck points in the system are, who would have to change what in their actions or behaviors to enable the whole system to perform, and what help will you give this party to help change their behavior so the whole system performs. We found such methods exist and are being used very effectively in countries that are rising very fast above the ease of doing business rankings. Malaysia, who you might see here, is almost at the top, and they went very fast in the last 5 years from being, they weren't very low, they were quite good, but went very fast up. They used a method of what they call the Pemandu fast forward, which is putting people together, all the stakeholders, on an issue for 100 days. In a hotel, government sponsors it, yes, the right facilitators. Within 100 days, you must come up with an agreed solution. That is the plan. And the government's job is then, okay, we are going to support the implementation of your plan. And none of you is going to come in the way because you made the plans. Similarly, we found Germany, Sweden, in tradition they do this. In Germany, which is at the highest rankings of industry in the world, in spite of highest costs of wages and the most expensive currency, it is the most competitive large manufacturing country in the world. Why? Because they have a system of people figuring out amongst labor and the management what is the best way forward, which will be best for us all, so that we keep improving our skills and our productivity together and the competitiveness of our enterprises. This perhaps in the next session, when we are going to go, I believe, more particularly, we will take up in more detail. But I thought I'd offer this while you were here, sir, that there is value in the CII could bring. And if you were to ask what came out of this conference, I hope you will ask CII that what are you doing to bring to us in Telangana these methods and tools so that we can apply them, and Telangana will improve in a cooperative fashion, a democratic cooperative fashion, both industry and its environment and the well-being of the people who work in industry, fastest in the world. So if there are rankings like SEDA, Telangana will appear the fastest state of improvement all around well-being and not merely the amount of investment that's coming into Telangana. Thank you very much for hearing me.